Board of Education, July 2024 meeting. If everyone will stand for the silence, moment of silence and the pledge, please. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You kept on. Okay. That's a good multitasking. Let me get my little thing out. Declaration of 7-11-2, declaration of conflict per Tennessee Code annotated 49-2-202. Board of Education members who have relatives per the statute. Relative means spouse, parent, parent-in-law, child, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, grandparent, grandchild, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, nephew, niece, or any person who resides in the same household as you. Employed by the system are asked to raise your hands to identify yourself. You certify that the votes that you make tonight will be in the best interest of the school system, regardless of the effect that your vote may have upon the employment of your relative or relatives.
I do.
Thank you. Seven 11-3, request to address the board. None. 7-11-4, approval of consent and regular agenda. Motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve.
Second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Passed. 7-11-5, approval of the July 2024 budget amendments. Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second. Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. 7-11-6, approval of the minutes from the June 13, 2024 regular board meeting. Motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. New business, 7-11-7, approval of the following updated and new policies as recommended by the board, policy committee. Where's my little thingy right there?
Okay, to make a motion to approve this, we have to approve the 1.6,
Yes. All right,
number 10.
as per policy development and adoption, number 1.60, it says you have to have 2 readings to pass policy changes, but it also has a codicil there, whatever it's called, on the back where it says, on matters of unusual urgency, by the affirmative vote by the majority of members of the board may waive the second reading limitation and take immediate action to adopt new or revised policies. And that unusual urgency lies in the fact that TSBA sent the changes to us in June, and it takes time to go through all these things, which we just done tonight, and then we got to get it in the handbook before school starts. So that was the unusual circumstances that we have to vote on waiving to do this. Do I have a motion to waive this?
I make a motion we waive it, and that be noted as to how we could waive it.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. Seven 11-8, approval of transportation contracts awarded as recommended by the Transportation Committee in Rusty. We had, do I make the motion before we discuss that, talk about what we talked about? Delon, do we make the motion before we talk about what we want to put in that? Do I make the motion and pass it and then discuss it?
You can make, yeah, first comes the motion, then a second, then discussion.
All in, need a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Thank you. Now, was this recommended out of transportation committee?
Yes, that's what we're going to discuss right here.
So a recommendation out of a committee doesn't need a,
Yes, that we, the motion right here, approval of transportation contracts awarded by, recommended by the Transportation Committee. And he okayed it, and we had a second, now we're going to discuss it, and we're going to add in there, Joe, you had the exact good wording for that, how we're going to do it in the future. You forgot already?
See if I wrote it down.
We talked about, in the future, how we're going to do it, make sure that we, try to eliminate these confusion. There wasn't a time limit set on it.
There wasn't a time limit set because routes can get heavier or get lesser, so that we just said that anytime there is one prior to signing the contracts, to
Yes.
let the contractors know ahead of time what is being discontinued or added due to certain circumstances.
Anybody, Mr. Williams, anything else to add to that? What she
so the
just-
certain time is 2 weeks, right?
Well,
And we can't really put a time.
We didn't give one, as the director said, because it's hard to do that, because we don't know right up until the end where it might be an apartment complex open up or close, or it could be changed, but we're just gonna say they have to be notified prior to signing the,
To the bids going out and signing, to
If we
sign.
if we combined a route, if we combined existing routes, that's the only time really that they need to have at least a 2-week face-to-face meeting to make them aware of what's going on.
we didn't put a time limit on it because, we didn't know last month, we just, they'll have to know, and Rusty will have to pull them all together and say, hey, here's the changes we're gonna make prior to the, contract.
You don't need them all together. You don't need all your contractors. What I was trying to say is if any time we're gonna take a half a route away or a route away from one of our contractors and combine them with another route, that contractor needs to have at least a two-week advance notification of what we're doing, instead of, coming in the day of. And we don't have any other issues with our other contracts and our drivers, do we, Rusty? There's no issue on nothing of that. The only
Yeah.
issue is,
The ones that are being, taken away, added, or that.
we're gonna
That's the
combine
ones he would let them know in advance.
if we're gonna
But the
combine the
director
route, we
recommended
probably
no
need to do a
time
2-week.
limit. Because, say, Telco built a big, huge complex on Church Street, and that bus couldn't pick up all those, and something needed to be done immediately, but you've got 2 weeks,
But
Well,
he
we're
ca-
talking about two different things.
that's
though.
what I'm saying, we're talking.
I think in order for it to be fair for everyone, every contractor should know what the routes are. So if there are
Yes.
changes made, everyone should know that. That's just levels the playing field.
Yes.
I don't think you just notify the ones that have a change, because what if someone else wants to pick up for another one now that it's changed?
True.
So I think everyone needs to be notified. That's
Okay.
why I said, tell them all.
We've approved this and seconded with the addition of that. Say that again so we can get that in the exact motion in here.
I bet Sandra got it.
I bet Sandra, you
Okay,
bet you
Sandra.
got it.
Prior to picking up contracts, meet with all contractors to notify them of routes being combined or eliminated.
I think, anything got me, we'll just notify.
Notify.
Either however we notify now, mail or email.
Anybody
It
else?
needs to be, if we're gonna take somebody's route, they need a face-to-face, they need to be told face-to-face to where they understand. I think there were some, I don't know whether everybody understood what was going on.
But it's gonna be hard to get every
You're not
contractor.
gonna do that many, they won't be, but this, you're not gonna combine that many, maybe 1 or 2 every year or less, and, I mean, this just gonna be, this hadn't happened in forever, has it? I'm all right with everything, I'm all right with the routes we've combined.
You want a face-to-face with any, add that in there?
With the
People that
ones,
are actually, everyone's
the
gonna
ones
be
that are
notified,
affected.
as she just said, but you want a face-to-face with anybody that's directly involved with it.
I would think it would,
Well, the reason I say everyone is because this is happening prior to any route being awarded. Obviously, if we're gonna change a route that you currently
Then they would
have,
be.
you'd have to be notified.
Then they would be.
But we're talking about prior to even letting them pick up a route, period. So we're not taking anything from anyone because nobody's been awarded yet. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Prior to even putting them out there. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that would be, so if we decide to combine, right now, the routes are set, you know. But if we decide at some point to do this after the next contract, that's what I would say.
like to,
We would contact them and just say, hey, listen, this is what's gonna happen, we're gonna take 492 and we're gonna combine it with 493. 492 is no longer gonna be available. It'll all be one route, 493. Now you have the right to pick up that application.
All right, Mr. Shootman, we have a motion to approve what we just said. Do we need, pass that and then add what the director says, or just, that, Sandra has it in the motion right here? How do we?
The motion needs to be amended
Okay,
to
then,
include what the director has said. If we vote on the amendment, then we vote on everything.
so we vote on the, recommendation on the
No.
first motion,
No.
the amendment.
Someone has to make a motion to amend the motion
I make a motion, we amend the motion,
to,
what the director just said. And Sandra read it so eloquently.
need a second with that.
Second, all in favor?
read it,
Read it again.
Okay. Prior to picking up contracts, the transportation director will notify all contractors of routes being combined and eliminated.
and if any contractors having a route took away from them,
That's why he said,
That's what it
she
said.
said eliminated. She said eliminated.
Combined or eliminated.
Combined or eliminated.
okay. I didn't hear eliminated.
All right,
Mr.
we
Chairman,
have-
we're voting on the amendment now, to amend the motion.
Yes. This is to amend the motion that we just made to do it. So we vote on that.
And then we go back and vote on
On
the
the
motion as
motion.
amended, should it pass.
So we have a first and a second on that. Y'all in favor of the amended motion?
Aye.
Any?
Roll call,
against?
roll call, I didn't hear everybody vote.
Let me ask this. Are we voting, are y'all voting right now on approving the transportation contracts?
No, the amendment.
We're voting
Just
on
the
the
amendment part.
Then-
Then we'll go back and do, a motion for the,
The motion as amended.
recommendation.
So
should it
what,
pass.
what this is you're putting this in maybe administrative procedure or something?
No, we're putting this in, we're going to amend the original motion we have right here, transportation. This is just to amend the motion, then we gotta go back, Lon said, we gotta go back and vote on the original.
like
And add that to it.
But what she's
I
saying.
believe Sandra's got the right idea.
What she's saying is, we're adding a process, a procedure for how this is to be done.
Yes.
Right, you're not
So that's
actually,
separate, it's not, that's,
you're not voting on awarding the
So
contract.
we need to withdraw the
Don't need to
amendment
amend nothing.
and
No.
vote to do the original motion.
You can
Then
vote on
somebody
this
make a
just as
motion to
is.
do what you're saying.
Now
Yes.
we're having procedure.
Procedure.
All right, so we're voting on just
This is a pretty
this
vague
wording.
procedure, though.
It's not vague.
Rusty's already done it. Say, if June the first, the contractor available, they can come and look at the contract. They signed on the dotted line on June the 15th, that's 2 weeks. They can
Okay.
come and look at the contract. So why are we even talking about it?
We're not.
So you've got a
We're just the
motion.
amendment part right here. The adding in the future. Mr. Shubin?
Mr. Chairman, I think what the director is suggesting is we vote on the original motion, then we come back and have a considered motion to adopt the procedure that we're talking about.
Fair enough. All right, roll call on the
On the
original,
original motion.
on the original approval, the 7-11 approval transportation contracts. Have a,
You have a motion?
we have a motion and a second. You want a roll call? Roll call. Ms. Sharon Freeman?
Yes.
On Weiss, yes. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Cagle?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
The motion is passed.
You, shoot, no, wait, you like one.
Now then, we're coming back to,
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion.
Wait, wait,
Chair, I have a point of order. I wasn't
Okay.
asked to vote.
he wasn't asked for his vote.
hallelujah. I got two lines. I'm sorry, Mr. Shootman, I have,
No apologies necessary.
I have slighted you.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was
Yes,
trying to,
Mr.
I had a line through your name all the way up from
I didn't mean
me.
to interrupt down there, Dean.
Okay, now then, we got that
Somebody
taken care
interrupt you.
of? And we have a motion to,
Procedure.
adopt the procedure. We have a motion to adopt the procedure we just discussed. We've read
Okay.
that.
Read that motion.
The
Because
procedure,
Freddie I'm on, my motion is gonna be that when we have a contractor, one of our contractors, and we go to them, and we're gonna combine the route and take that route away from any contractor we've got, that we at least 2 weeks prior sit down with them and explain to them that we're taking Route 24 and moving it to Route 22.
That's what's in here already.
Is that what you've got,
That's what's
Sandy?
in here.
it
add or
doesn't, there's not a
eliminate.
time, there's not a time limit.
There's not a time limit. We're not gonna put a
You
time limit.
need, well, what's a time limit hurt?
It's not in the original one. So let's vote on what we have right here.
However,
All in favor of the procedure?
read it again.
Prior to picking up contracts, the transportation director will notify all contractors of routes being combined and eliminated.
Do I have a,
Move that be approved.
do I have a motion to approve that?
Lon?
Lon did, second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call. I have one right here, let's see this. Mr. Shootman,
Yes.
I got you first. You in favor? Mr. Weiss, yes. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
No.
Sharon Freeman?
Yes.
Joe Cagle?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Passes 7-1.
Who passed?
I had one no.
You didn't get Mr. Ridgel.
Hallelujah, I was just sliding no down here.
You still did behind this.
It's getting hot in here.
Who'll
Mr.
be next,
Ridgel?
Dawn?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel is yes. That's two people I had a line all the way through. If you mess up, what her name says, if you mess up, fess up. Where is she? She said, told me that. And I just did. Can't have fun, it's time to die. Old business, 7-11-9, bids for contracted mowing services, Monroe County Schools. Philip.
Give everybody a copy of what was the verbiage contract. So tonight is just pretty simple, just looking to see if you guys want to proceed with putting this out or going to a contracted service versus continuing to do it in-house or not. It was asked, brought to my attention that in handing these out, that some of you wanted to know the actual verbiage of it being a 3-year contract, renewable every year, June to July, or July to June. It's a 7-day rotation that starts about the second week of March and ends about the second week of November. And you say, how can it be about? Because depending on the weather, depending on how quick it warms up, depending on how quick the grass grows is when we start. But that's why I did around the second week of March and ending the second week of November. There is time in here for extra mowing. They did give costs for extra mowings if we had to do extra mowing, such as graduations, special events, field days, home games, homecomings, whatever. So that's in here as well. Do you have any specific questions that I might be able to answer for you?
Philip, 3-year contract. This is the first time we've really done anything like this, correct?
No, it's typically 3 years, renewable every year, right?
But I mean, for the system.
Yeah, he had asked me, I was under the assumption it was 1 year, but this may be how the county, is this how they do theirs, same way? Okay, so it mimicked, they mirrored what the county does, which is a 3. But what you're saying is like when we did a new bus contract, till you see if
See
it
if we
works,
like it.
you prefer a shorter.
You understand?
Correct, yeah. And it can be nullified or canceled by either party at the end of each year.
I stay the same for 3 years.
That's not in here. So it can go up, and that's part of the discussions at the end of each year, that if there's a price increase on either party or a decrease or whatever the discussion is, you discuss that before it comes back up for renewal, and if either party disagrees, then you either work it out to where it does agree, or you can cancel. Or rebid, yes, put it out to rebid.
Which really would accomplish the same thing. You know, if you've got that clause in there, you may not think of everything that you want done after that first year. If we're not satisfied and there are things we want to go back and talk about, we can do that. And then if we
Yep.
don't agree to go back into it, we can come out of it, or they can come out of it.
So we're doing it from July till June.
Yes,
The mowing is from March till,
yeah, it overlaps two
Okay.
fiscals.
then from November till June,
Yep.
what will they be doing?
So from November to March.
Yeah.
Until they pick back up again, according to what we put in here, they're doing, leaf pickup, they're doing, bush trimming, hedge trimming, anything that they can do like that, low limb cleanup, any limbs that have gotten low, things like that. Mulching, there's some mulching, that's included,
That's around the front of the schools, not
Yeah.
the playground stuff, right?
correct, yeah. Yeah, the playgrounds are the maintenance departments.
We pay for the materials and they do the labor, is that how that works?
No, it's all included.
All included.
Yep. Their one yearly cost is that included. The only thing that would change is if we have to add extra mowings, or if we decided to do an extra flower bed or mulching other than that they've already laid eyes on.
Okay, is this a local person?
They are all local, yes.
Okay, is it gonna cost anybody, or is anybody gonna lose their job? How many people is it gonna
The
affect?
companies, all of these that I talked to, except for one, said that they would consider hiring the 2 that we have left.
But it just affects 2 people,
Yes,
and they're part-time.
yes.
I move we accept it. Try it 1 year. Or
Which one? You talking about
the low bid.
the low bid?
Okay, I have some questions. Do they have like, you know, when we was talking about this during the workshop and called one certain
Yes.
person, it was put out there what his bid was.
Yep.
And he told he had the equipment, he already had it set up to buy new mowers and stuff. Do these others have the people? I mean, do we know where they've mowed before,
Yes.
this, that?
Yes, they're all 5 that submitted the bids. have all the resources or are going to acquire the resources
Cause he
needed
was
to do the
afraid his
job.
bid got leaked out that night after we had all that discussion
Yep.
on it.
We never mentioned, well, I don't know whether we did or not. Anyhow, I make the motion, we accept this, and it's the lowest bid, Randy Wallace, that's, and I didn't know this till today. George
Where
Torbett,
does he mow at?
George Torbett, he's hired a boy from a co-op,
The
running one of the
Wallace.
lawnmowers, and they're renting.
He's got, do you remember, Gerald, where he was?
He's got,
Southeastern Turf.
yeah, he's got three, let's see. Biggest, business.
Yep.
But he's got several complexes in this. I remember which one exactly it was. He's got
Do you know how many employees he had?
4.
Yeah, he was actually adding on
Yeah.
for this job, all new mowers and
Yep.
adding on employees.
Second. Any discussion? I'm gonna add my 2 cents in here. We struggle to put freaking roofs on our buildings and all these things we're having. We're gonna spend $165,000 on this, and we've been taking care of this for years and years and years.
Are we not saving money on this, Philip?
Coach Weiss.
Going with the 165, we're saving money.
Yes, Shelley, she's got the numbers.
I
Coach
think
Weiss,
last year you wanted 75,000 extra dollars for this mowing. Last year, I believe it was $75,000 was the amount of money that
To-
you threw out there.
Yeah, to add to what we already had.
So
and
it's
that-
all right, so it's gone up technically $100,000 since last year.
Yes, did you get that sheet that Shelley gave out?
I did not.
Did anybody else get it?
which one?
Oh, you didn't get it? All right.
Coach Weiss?
So just to kind of reiterate what you're talking about, to stay where we are with five part-time groundspeople is roughly 121,000. To go full-time, which is what we would need to maintain those positions, to do 4 full-time positions and 1 part-timer bumps that number to 200,000, roughly 201, and then the low bid comes in at 165.
But what
So-
have we been doing, what have we been doing the mowing with the last few years? I know we say we get behind,
Yes.
I understand that, but what's the cost been?
Well, the cost is absorbed. The cost is already, so we've got 90, is it 96? You remember 96,000 in 167 grounds?
Mr. Chairman?
So we've got 96,000 that's set aside for funding for just paychecks for those employees. The problem is keeping the employees, and then the second problem that will add to that cost is when we go to replacing the equipment. And see, replacing the equipment on a rotational basis was considered in these numbers because that's something that we have to do moving forward in the future. We have trucks to replace, we have trailers to replace, tractors, bush hogs. All that equipment is all considered and looked at in these numbers. And so that's why that number's there.
Any other discussion?
And will you or Gerald check and make sure it's been done? You know,
Absolutely.
Since this is the first year we've
Yep.
ever contracted out on mowing.
Yep.
Okay.
But we're not gonna micromanage it.
No,
Well, they need to check the grounds.
It-
make
it-
sure
it'll have to be
everything's been
checked,
done. I mean,
just
you
like
know,
it
right
is
there in the
now.
beginning and stuff.
But now,
The
Mr.
principals
Chairman,
can call them and tell them if it's
you've been on the
not.
golf course a lot. They're well manicured. We've had a lot of hay fields around here. Now, will that include like this soccer field right up
It
here?
includes everything. And,
We
and
need it looking good.
and it's in
Because
here
if
for
you run
the-
a business or you run a school system, but if you run a business and you let your grass grow up like we have sometime,
yep,
people think you're out of business.
yep.
You got to keep it well groomed.
It's in here for the bush hogging. We didn't specifically set any kind of schedule for the bush hogging. We said we do our bush hogging every other mowing or every 3 mowings. And so that's when, if you approve this tonight, further discussion will go into this company to make sure that they understand what we're looking for, what we're wanting, what we expect, and then that will be worked on to make sure that it is kept and maintained in that order. And that's already been addressed to a certain degree with all of these individuals.
When would they start?
They would start probably, this is probably August, be August the 1st.
So we'd amend that contract to start.
That's what I've talked to, I've already mentioned, asked Shelley to see if that's something that we can do, since it's not been awarded yet. seeing if that's something that we can just amend, not be in trouble, whatever, but we'll get with Gail and the lawyers on that and find out what we can and can't
And
do.
then how quick are we gonna sell all our equipment?
We need to make sure.
My opinion would be at least a year, that we need to hold on to it for at least a year.
Okay.
And see how things go, and if things work out good. You know, my thought was we have no space here to keep our stuff, to store it. We're running absolutely out of space, so we're gonna devise a place and come up with a plan to store all of our equipment and then go from there.
Philip, this is not a deal breaker with me, but, and it may be in here, but somewhere, we need to, either sandblast or wash our buildings, you know,
Yes,
around that. Is that in here
No.
anywhere? Is that gonna be?
that's
with your-
on us. Yep.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please. Mr. Weiss, no. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Shootman?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Ingram? Here, Ms. Freeman?
Yes.
Cagle?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Passes. And now we get to 7-11-10, Director of Schools report.
Okay, I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude for all the hard work our maintenance and custodial staff have put in over the summer months to get the schools and campuses prepared for the upcoming school year. They've been moving furniture, waxing floors, cleaning classrooms, completing projects and servicing equipment daily, all in anticipation of the return of our staff and students. So we are very grateful for them for all of their hard work. I'd also like to recognize the hard work put in by our food service team, as those folks have worked tirelessly this summer to show up to prepare and serve meals to the community from the cafeterias. In addition to those meals being served during the week, Lisa Art and her crew have been hard at work at Sequoia High School, packing bags and distributing food in the form of a community drive-through that takes place each Friday. To date, our largest turnout was over 3,600 families, and we expect our next event, which will be held tomorrow, to serve approximately 4,000. I appreciate Greg Smith helping Lisa and her department with all their efforts to head up the food handouts, as well as the countless others who have given of their time. We have had volunteers from central office, administrators, teachers, teaching assistants, law enforcement, many others who have given of their time, athletic teams. So we just want to thank everyone for their help with that. This has been a huge undertaking, but it has been a major blessing to our communities. People have been so appreciative of this effort, and it was no small task. So thank you to everyone who has given of your time. We appreciate all of you.
Somebody send them out there. I've sent several.
They told us.
Told them to look for you.
I was out there.
If you need anybody to haul hay, holler at the director.
7-11-11, any other business the board feels necessary to discharge its duties? I have a motion I want to make. I'm sure everyone has studied the updates on the financial situation. We got all of our money from TISA that was expected, $38 million. We increased that by $2.3 million. We now have in the fund balance $12,123,688. And we discussed that at length, and I want to make a motion that we add Sweetwater's roof, just because at the last time, as we talked about, that we would bring this up when we got the figures. We've got the figures, we've got the money. I want to make a motion that we amend this year's budget to add Sweetwater's roof to it, which is 1.7.
Second the motion.
Any discussion?
I'd like to amend this motion that we include central office. And you've got a price on Sweetwater's roof, and you got the price on this, right? Do you have that,
Mr.
Philip?
Mr. Phillip?
We have a pretty hard number on
Close.
Sweetwater, and we have a relatively close number on this one, but
So what,
this one can change.
so what kind of money,
pretty quickly,
just close, what are you talking about on Sweetwater?
1.7,
Yeah, I think-
1.74, I think, the last time.
1.6, 1.7.
And then what are you talking about on this?
For here, you know, giving numbers is dangerous, but.
Yes, it is.
It's
Just
very
close,
dangerous, and it's
600,
something
700,
we don't
wasn't
like doing, but,
Wasn't
but I would say probably $750,000,
It was-
750 something in that neighborhood, possibly, that's again, you can't, you know, I'm spitballing here, so you can't, it's not been spec'd, it's not been, there's a lot of bad material on this roof.
Well, so I'm gonna amend the motion. I'd like to make a motion that we amend it to include central office
Mr. Shootman,
and when they built the new high schools out here, Sequoia, Tellico. And I know 20-something years ago, we've had problems for the last 25 years, not just under your watch. But we've had problems with these roofs. It's cost us lots of money. I would like for us to maybe do like they did with the old high schools and find us a semi-retired or retired person that has done roofs. I'm talking about, you know, and maybe let them oversee these, have we done Ruraville yet?
We're getting.
I would like to
getting
see
through this process.
spend $50,000, somebody that knows roofs that could oversee this and make sure that we don't keep making the mistakes we're making.
I want to get the motion in and passed on the roofs first.
Okay.
I want to get that in. Mr. Shootman, he wanted to amend it to add the central office. Lead us through that.
You need to make a motion to amend, there have to be a second. Then we're gonna have to discuss and vote on the amendment.
All right, so I have the motion, it's been seconded, and we're in the discussion. He wants to amend it to add the central office to it. So we need a motion and discuss that, and then do the,
I believe, Mr. Williams, you made a motion to amend, is that correct?
yes, yes.
Is there a second to that motion is what you need to ask now.
We have a second to amend his motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have any discussion on that?
We're ready to discuss the amendment.
Yes, his amendment. No discussion on that? Now then, we're back to the.
No, we got to, if there's no discussion, we've got to do a vote on the
We're
amendment.
going, that's what I'm going to. There's no
Roll call.
discussion. I'm going to the vote. We're going to roll call it here.
What are we discussing?
We're discussing, amend the budget to add, the Sweetwater roof and the central office roof to this year's budget.
I was under the impression we'd already made the motion to do that
No, we have not. He said he would come back and ask for it.
after the first roof's done. That was a motion we already made.
After, there was not a motion to it. He was just going to come back.
This budget year,
And we were gonna add it in September, if I recall right. September lays in my mind for some
well, it'll
reason that we
be
would.
December.
We were gonna wait till the Rouvale roof was complete and then go to the next roof. I mean, I thought that was always the game plan.
It was
Mr.
not,
Bettis?
the Ruraville vote got passed, but the other one was come back and amend the budget. We didn't get
September.
anything but the Ruraville vote in for last year's budget. That's what we got in.
The money for the Ruraville project has already been took out of the budget. It's not in these figures. It's already appropriated, correct, Shelley?
Yes, it was appropriated in last year's budget.
And that's what we said,
And it has come out of these numbers.
that's what we said, we would do Ruraville's in last year's budget and come back in the fall and do Sweetwater. Which we got to do this too.
We were gonna do both.
The amendment is to add the boardroom.
I thought we're on schedule to do them anyway. I don't know
No,
what
we don't, we don't.
we're
we're
jumping.
not. Sandra, have we got that anywhere in writing that we're gonna do that?
That you're gonna revisit it.
We're revisiting it. We're revisiting it.
And
right now,
then
right?
after Ruralville was completed, we start Sweetwater.
Yeah, that's my understanding. That's why I don't know what
We're voting on,
We're voting to add Sweetwater roof and the central office roof right now. That's what we're voting
the
on.
amendment is central office.
Sweetwater and the central office.
Mr. Shootman?
That's what we're voting on. We
No,
just,
we're voting on adding the central office to the
We did, I just said, we had a motion and we seconded that and there was no discussion on it. I had that.
We're discussing it now.
We discussed it. Any voting on that?
Just on the amendment.
Just on the
I have a-
amendment?
I have a question.
Yes.
As to Roosevelt money, is that already out of the, or is that part of this 12 million we have here?
It has been deducted from this, it is not, it has already been taken out of that $12 million.
Thank you. Thank you. That was my question.
Okay, answered. All in favor of this
Roll
amendment?
call.
No,
Roll call?
Director, how do you feel?
I will go with the wish of the board. I would just like for Shelley to be able to explain to us, I mean, the budget that we approved and the budget that we presented to the county commission that they approved did not include this money. So I would just feel more comfortable if our finance person tells us what that's going to do to that budget, how much it would increase it. I'm not saying we don't have it, I'm not saying we can't do it. I would just like to consult with her before we make that decision, because that's like balancing your checkbook without having your check register in front of you. I don't have those figures. We have our fund balance amount, but we do not have what our budget would increase with those roofing costs, because they were not included in that.
When we talked about this last year, the big deal was we're going to add Sweetwater after the figures get in. We've got $38 million. We got the projected amount of money, plus 2.3 million something dollars. So we have a fund balance projected of $12 million. Is that going to affect our budget? Yes, it is, but we talked about this as stringently, and I want Sweetwater's, I want it in the budget. And I don't care what it's going to do to it, because it has to be there. It has to be there.
I'm not saying not to put it in. I just think it would behoove you to hear the figures. I mean, you're the board approving it, but I just don't like to approve something if I don't know what the figures are. That's all
That's
I'm
got us in
saying.
trouble before. And Philip, you don't have permanent for both,
Ma'am?
cost and figures for both? Because when we approved rural valves that night, you found out it was gonna go up that to finish that one part, and that was included in it. Is there anything that might need to be included in this before we approve?
No,
With
there-
cost.
there's no way to come up with a number. I mean, all I have is budgetary numbers. And so then when it goes out to bid, depending on the spec and the materials it's chosen and all that, that can change several hundreds of thousands of dollars quickly.
I'd like for it to go out to bid first before we vote on it.
Cause if we pass to do this roof and it comes in $3 million, then it's $3 million.
Shelley, we've got $12 million in the fund.
Projected.
Projected. County commission does not tell us what to do with the $12 million. That's not gonna affect the budget that we turned in to county commission or nothing. That's Monroe County Board of Education money, right?
Yes, we can amend the budget. It has already been submitted and passed by county commission. It's been sent to the state. So it can be amended.
We've got what the appraiser says, a $6 million building over at Sweetwater, but I say it's more like a $30 million building with the roof leaking.
Has the
We
state
went on
approved
for
it?
years about how long they talked about doing this roof.
7, probably. Is that
Or
right,
more.
Philip? Probably 7 at least, that it's been 6 years overdue. 5, anyway.
But all we're discussing now and voting on is whether we're gonna add this to the project. And it's like
Project or
a cost, estimated cost of about $750,000.
For both roofs, just
No.
7?
No, for this roof right here. His
Okay, what
amendment
was
was,
Sweetwater's?
it was 1.7.
And again, remember that these numbers, you can't, I don't wanna come back and after it goes out to bid and if you guys approve all this and I come back and say, central office is, $978,000, and then you say, well, you lied to us because you told us $750 in this meeting. So I wanna make sure that you understand these are only preliminary budgetary numbers to even look and say, okay, that's what the preliminary numbers are for, is for you to have an idea of, this is kind of where we're gonna be at, do we have the funding for it? Then you write the bid specs, you get your engineer involved, then there's an architect, there's an A&E fee, that's usually 5% of the total cost, so if it's 5% of 100,000, or 5% of $800,000, what is that, $40,000? So that's an extra $40,000 that's not included in that cost, so.
You're probably looking
All
at
of this
two,
stuff comes into effect, and we have to be careful with, I
But
just
that-
wanna make sure that everybody understands.
but that's
that.
on any project you do.
Yes,
And you're
yes.
probably looking at $2 million on Sweetwater and $1 million here. And that's gonna throw your fund balance on projected figures back to about 9 million.
And just to clarify, the increase from the new TISA was 2.1 million.
What did he say?
Two. I said did I say 2.3? I missed it, 200,000. You say it real fast, that's not a lot of money. All right, we've discussed it, beat the hair off the dog, let's vote on it. All in favor of his motion?
Roll call.
That's what I'm doing, all in favor of roll call. I thought I said roll call. Mr. Bettis?
No.
Ms. Cagle?
No, because I'd like to see numbers, just like we had numbers prior to Rural Vale.
Ms. Freeman?
I'm gonna say no. I would like to go ahead and do Sweetwater, but without the numbers, I'm,
No.
no.
Mr. Kelly?
No.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Shootman?
No.
Mr. Weiss, yes. Mr. Williams?
Yes,
It fails.
to do the boardroom.
Do what?
The amendment fails. So you're,
Just the boardroom,
so
just
you're
add the
back-
boardroom to it.
so you're back to the
Now
Sweetwater
we're
High
back to
School.
the Sweetwater High School.
Discussion. We
We just-
sat here with a school that's got 300 kids in it at Rural Vale. We went out on the limb for the 3rd district forever. Very few tax increases have been voted in. Now then, we're asking to do something on this roof and something at Sweetwater, and Teleco says no. And Mr. Shootman said no.
You're wrong.
I would love to see this, but I don't wanna buy a pig in the post.
You're not getting a pig in the poke.
He can't give us the figure, so yeah, we are buying a pig
We
in the
have,
post.
Hey, when the Rural Vale project comes back, it won't be 733,000, it'll be $1 million, because we're gonna be way on up in the fall. But I mean, you can vote the way you want to, but I'm not gonna sit here, I am gonna sit here, I don't want to, sit here and vote to put a roof on Sweetwater High School when we've got just as much problem right here with this boardroom as we do it over there. But I am gonna support the Sweetwater roof. But
I am too, and I will support this roof if
Well,
we can
we've
get a
not.
figure.
I will support both roofs. But I
If
just
we can
wanna,
get a figure.
I thought we had decided
One at a
September.
time.
you
I'm
can
talking-
decide
I'm
just
the
in a
only one
minute. I'm
talking.
gonna
One
see how
time.
Sweetwater
One
I'm the only
votes
one
on
talking.
their own school.
We're out of motion here, we're out of order. Mr. Bettis?
Roll call. Tell him what he's voting on, 'cause I want it documented what they're voting on.
We're not voting right now, he was stating an opinion here.
I was just saying, I'm 100% for doing both roofs, but we had all decided as a group, we'd wait till this first roof's done.
Is that what we decided, Shelley? Well, I'm not gonna put-
100%.
Don't even pay no attention. Go ahead, I'm through.
But that's what we decided as a group, because we said 3 projects is too many going on to manage, because that'd be in 3 different parts of the county. And that's why we decided we would do them just like we said.
We also said we was gonna have Rural Vale done before school started. But go ahead.
Yeah, and I
We
don't
had-
know anything about the time frame.
When we had this going on right here, Sweetwater was number 1 on it, okay? It was number 1. And then Rural got moved ahead because there was leaks.
It was in the worst condition.
Right.
Time out, let me finish. All of a sudden, Rural got moved ahead and we voted to do it, okay? I haven't heard any, and it was a get the job done, let's vote the money in that night, and you all did, and we did, okay? Now then, it's time to move on to the next one, and the job didn't get done. The job that was said, this job will be done by September. And in September, we'll come back if we have the money, if we get the money from TISA, and we'll do the job. It was an if in there. Well, we've got the money from TISA. I can't help that the job wasn't done at Rural Vale. I can't help that. That money's gonna go forward right here, but by golly, we're gonna get it done right then, right now. And don't tell me it's worse than Sweetwater's, because it wasn't. We were leaking, we had to move ball games.
Well,
There's
according to
leaking,
Philip,
excuse
it
me, I'm
was.
still talking. We got leaks all around that building over there in Sweetwater. Hey, I've seen it, I've witnessed
I'm
it.
for doing
Excuse me,
Sweetwater's
time
roof.
out, I'm still talking. You're out of order. So, that's what we talked about, and we got the Rural Vale in, because you all wanted in. So I voted for it too, okay? Now then, the job didn't get done, and here's Sweetwater. what's the holdup right here getting Sweetwater done? Now, if Roosevelt gets done, it's all right, the money's already been voted to do it,
I'm
okay?
for doing Sweetwater's
Mr.
roof.
Okay.
Chairman,
Let's vote on it.
We've
We're
had
waiting on this
discussion,
for
that we're back to the
figures.
original motion now of adding the Sweetwater gym, the Sweetwater roof.
What part is Sweetwater gonna be repaired, Philip?
The dome and all of the round building.
All around building.
Do we have a firm bid on that, Philip?
No, it's not went out to bid yet, it was under the architectural's review. We were waiting to pull one more PO to finish out the process to go to bid. And that's where the preliminary numbers came in from.
but we can reject bids.
Yes, we don't.
If we're sitting here after we vote tonight, and they come in here and tell us that Sweetwater's gonna be 2.7 million, we can reject the bid and start over.
So we don't have the funding for it.
You guessing, I know you don't like to guess, but what would a rough estimate be? Somebody, you, Gerald, somebody,
For this
for
building,
Sweetwater?
For Sweetwater, this is dead.
Sweetwater's pretty solid at 1.6.
That's what I thought.
1.6, 1.7, that's where we're at in that neck of the woods, but again, when it comes back to bid, I don't want you to be upset, just like what Mr. D is saying, if it comes in at 1.8 or 1.9, to say, well, you told us it was this much money. That's why I'm very cautious of trying to get figures before we have bid documents and everything is put out. So that's why I say you're looking at, yes, budgetary numbers, 1.6, 1.7, probably 700,000 to 900,000, somewhere in the neighborhood for this building. Again, these are all just budget numbers that.
But Philip, this may work to our advantage. It may work to our advantage if you put out that we've approved 1.6 to do the roof at Sweetwater. Those contractors, if we approve 2.5 million, they're gonna say, well, you know, there's a victim.
Yeah.
And, you know, but we can still reject it.
Now, is this something, sorry, go ahead.
Is this further discussion on
Yeah.
the Sweetwater gym?
Yes.
Okay.
So Sweetwater Gym, if it's voted in tonight, it would start after Rural Vales is completed.
Correct.
Because we made
No.
clear facts that we would not have two projects going at one time. And I think Mr. Williams suggested this because it can be too demanding to have so many projects to keep up with at one time.
So by the time he gets Ruraville done,
Sweetwater will,
he'll have all this stuff in place
Bids and
to
everything.
start Sweetwater.
okay,
Which is what we were gonna do to begin with, so.
If you
Yes.
don't have it, if, we've not done anything till it's voted on and it's recorded in the minutes.
Okay.
We've not done anything. Anything we say,
so I wanted to say, as soon as Rural Vales, if it's voted in, that we, so how would you add that? Start Sweetwater if voted in, I mean, when would we add something like that to that?
I'm sorry, I'm lost. I'm not sure
that's
what you're
just
saying.
common
Getting
sense.
Sweetwater done.
You're gonna
But
do
it's not gonna
Ruraville,
start,
Philip.
does Philip,
and
do
then
we
you're
just
gonna
tell
be- while
Philip, or
you're
does
doing
it
the
gotta be in a
roof, the actual
motion?
roof, you're gonna be getting everything together,
Correct.
the bids and everything. And then just as soon as they get done with Ruraville, you'll be ready to jump on Sweetwater.
Okay, all right,
We're
it's
voting,
clear.
all right, we're voting on to add the Sweetwater round building to the budget. That's what we're voting on. Right there, that's the one motion on the
roof.
floor, then
The
we,
roof.
then the roof. And we'll, if there's something else, we can do that. Roll call vote on that.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I have
sir.
a question at this point. Are we adding this to the budget, or are we voting to simply do it and deal with budgetary concerns as we go along?
Adding to the budget, we're adding it to the budget. Well, he has a preliminary of $1.7 million, and that's with any project, that may be up or down a little bit. And that's
add it.
with any project we do.
Just that, we're gonna take it out of the general fund.
It's
You're not
come
gonna
out
go
of
to
a
county-
fund
you're not
balance, it'll
gonna
come
go
out
to
of fund
county
balance.
commission and ask them nothing. The funding for the Sweetwater roof is gonna be like Ruraville. It's coming out of the budget, the general fund, coming out of the general fund. Is that right, Madam Director?
I'll let,
I don't wanna get you in this controversy.
I'll let Shelley answer
You
that,
do
I
all
guess.
right.
I would have to pull, if you vote on it, I would have to pull the 1.7 and do an amendment and pull it out of fund
Out
balance.
of fund
It
balance,
has to be moved over.
which would give us still a fund balance of about 10.5 million.
Yes.
Which is financially strong, because I've said here in years past, when they didn't have but 2 million, and 1.3 of it had to be in reserve or something. So it's very healthy, but
Roll call. On the amendment to add Sweetwater High School gym, Mr. Bettis. That's a no vote.
Beg your pardon?
Pass is a no vote.
Oh, okay.
It's not really, becomes a no vote.
Yeah, it's not really a no vote, but
That's what the attorney says, abstinence or no, or pass is a no vote.
Yeah, I don't think you were at that meeting with the attorney.
I'll vote yes.
Ms. Cagle?
Yes.
Ms. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Shootman?
Yes.
Mr. Weiss? Yes. Mr. Williams?
yes.
Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Shootman, we've sat right here in the second district and wound up, we're doing Ruavale, we're doing Sweetwater High School, and we left out right here. And anybody in here can tell you how bad the roof is, but that's fine.
Let me.
I could have voted no on this, but I didn't.
Let me add this, in here too. After talking, with the finance, correct me, Shelley, if I'm wrong, okay? The Ruravale gym now cannot be bid under last year's project. It can't be. Because you can't turn in a bid at this late date. It would have to be on this year's budget now. It can't be on last year's budget.
No, that wasn't bids, that was purchase orders.
Purchase order, it cannot be pulled on last year's budget, correct?
Right, basically, since a purchase order was not pulled prior to June 30th, the money rolled back into fund balance, so I will just have to do another amendment for this year to pull that money back out of fund balance and put it back into Phillips' budget
So-
for this year.
We can't
it's a
do
wash.
Ruravale's gym or building or whatever it is until we amend another budget. It can't be done because the money, the purchase order can't be pulled at this late date until after August. So there has to be another budget amendment, correct? To get the $750,000 in this year's budget.
Yes, that's just a technicality.
That's just a technicality, Mr. Chairman. We've got a roof at Ruavale, we've got a roof at Sweetwater. Let's move on to something more important. We're on the grant at the intermediate school. How are we doing on that deal?
Closing out.
Okay. I need to get something clarified and then you can talk. Okay, on this insurance deal that we passed in retirement, people are still having, how many years' service? And that's probably something we're gonna have to put out. How many years' service is it that we passed?
25.
Is it,
It's the same, it follows what
do you know, Sandra?
TCRS, it's the same stipulation TCRS has.
If there's not an age limit, it's, they have to be 55
They have to be 55-year-old.
or TCRS eligible. That's two totally different things.
So what, I mean, they have to be 55, how many years' service?
TCRS, you have to have 30.
So they have to have 30?
If you take early retirement, all that's different. Your first eligible is age 55.
Okay, I'm trying to figure this out here. They'd send me texts and I don't know all this bull, and I can't remember it. So they have to have the, I don't know, I'll shoot from the hip. They have to do the 55-year-old at least. They have to do 30 years' service.
They can be
But I
50.
thought we were doing 25 or less, didn't you, Mr. Ridgel? But it doesn't matter, so it's 30 years.
25 is
It
in Monroe
could be
County
less
system.
than 30, as long as they're 55. You just have to be TCRS eligible, and you're first eligible when you turn 55.
Okay, so who do I need to tell them to see when they ask me about all this?
They can call us,
Call you? Okay,
It mirrored the
the
teachers,
teachers.
okay.
same as teachers.
I'll just tell them, okay.
And I think where that 20 that you're talking about comes in, or 25, 20 has to be in the county.
Monroe
Okay.
County
For
See,
them to
they
pay
said-
the difference, that's
So-
what it is.
But I'm gonna tell them, call Sandra.
That's perfect.
Okay, now I'm gonna get down to something serious that I'd like to see us do within the next 2 years while I'm on here. Okay, we've got, and this goes to Janie too, and the Madam Director, and I should have, and I got part of my information today. Okay, we've got one of the largest industrial parks in East Tennessee. Got lots of industry. Short on help. Okay, I was up through there the other day, but I'm on a committee down there in McMinn County, and they've got the TCAT deal. They're building a satellite. I'm wanting to set this up in a workshop. I'm not gonna make no motion tonight, but they're setting up a satellite campus in Polk County. They're gonna do 3 curriculums, which down there they're doing forestry, medical, and then didn't know what the other one was. Okay. Cleveland State is partnering them down there. You may have heard some of this already. Okay, what I'm wanting to do, and I've talked to Brian Hall, I've talked to David Raper that's doing the buildings in the industrial park. And from what I've heard today, Cleveland State is wanting to do a partnership up here. But we got crossed up in all that Hiawassee College and all that deal.
Well, they have a satellite campus in the industrial,
But they're not doing,
but they're not doing.
yeah, what I'm wanting is HVAC, some kind of electrical deal. You know, we're the largest boat manufacturer in the world up there at Monroe. And, I had welding. And we can partner with Cleveland State. If we don't want to buy the building, you know, if I know 5 million, 10 million, all those figures scare you. We have a person in Monroe County that is doing the industrial park, real nice buildings. You can drive up through there and look at the Yamaha warehouse that is willing to fix us a facility and lease it to us. So that would, you know, take care of the millions of dollars, and we'd be down, I think it's like whatever square footage, I know. Okay. I was also told today that down there, we need to get our 2 state reps, Lowell Russell and Mark Cochran, involved in it. We need Cleveland State. And we need the TRDA director, Brian Hall. He's on board with this. And the industry over there is wanting something. We need like a Monroe County Votech Center, whatever we want to call it, TCAT. But they also told, we need, while Governor Lee's in there, which I don't agree with his voucher program and 2 or 3 more things, but I do agree with this TCAT money. While he's in there, we need to use Lowell and Mark Cochran, and they say they're just overflowing with money at the TCAT in Athens. Is that correct, Jane? I mean,
Well, they do have more money than what they had in
And-
the past, and they've added things, and when I heard that Polk County was getting the satellite, I said, what about us?
Well,
Why do we not ever
that-
have an opportunity?
so that's what I'm wanting to see how this commission and the director, how we feel. Somebody's gonna have to get the ball rolling. We've got to have this up here in the industrial park.
Well, any high school principals need to be involved.
Well,
And this is why, you know, we had the HVAC grant with Cleveland State, and Tellico is the only high school that really sent kids out there. When you start looking at transportation to move kids from the high school and scheduling and all of that to another building that's on the other end of the county, it has issues.
30
no
minutes.
one really thinks about.
But I agree with you, but what I'm wanting to do is we need a workshop. If we're on board with this. And I understand the principles, you may need, they're doubling their, HVAC down there at TCAT now. They're building on, and they're overflowing, well, they've got lots of Monroe County students down there. But we need this up here to where when Brian Hall, when TRDA brings in industry, that they can go through there and see what we're doing.
Well, they can also see what we're doing in the high school.
Well, I understand.
But you know.
I know.
There's a lot that our high schools are doing,
But-
and I mean,
And if it's something we don't wanna do, but a lot of people, when you get out and talk, they're wanting something like this instead of some of these show barns and some of this other stuff, you know. I'm an agricultural person, but Monroe County is an industry-driven county, you know.
Telco High School, I think, had 3 graduate with HVAC. 2.
I had 12, I think it was
Wait,
12.
I know they were saying, I mean, I know Timber Brown did, and I know of three.
Well,
See,
Mr. Chair-
they use that program and,
Mr. Chairman, what I want to do is just maybe set up a workshop, and if we don't need it, then we don't need it.
yep.
If,
I have a question when this gets done for Shelley.
we have, we can get, Mark and, Lon, and they're real good about, cause we had a meeting with Leanne, and they're real good about coming. And, I talked with a lady in Nashville, and, what you just said, I forget how many $1 million are over there for this kind of project, and I talked to some man from Hardin County. And they got a ton of money from the state and the local businesses too. And I think a lot of it took care of the transportation problem. They transported the kids over because of the industries want it so much. So, you wanna try to get a hold of those two
I just-
guys and set up a meeting with that, get that set up, and then we'll call a workshop next month.
Maybe Jane, I mean, if the board, you know, it's up to the board. If you don't think, I mean, I'm not interested in,
What's wrong with finding out?
well, I mean, that's
That's
all
what
right.
your suggestion is, just find out how much money we can get. Who knows until you ask?
Whose
take your
responsibility
birthday away
is that
from you
to
for
set
asking.
up a workshop, Janie's or Sandra or
She
who?
probably has contact information with you, yeah. Janie would have the contact information.
Mr. Williams, I've had discussions with people as you have, probably a lot of the same people you have. The industry in Monroe, they're dying for us to do something.
They are.
To help them. And I've talked with them, several of them at length about that. They're willing to put money in. They've got to suspend it, willing to suspend it, because they see it as a help to them. So I think it's something we need to certainly look at.
Well, and I can say, I think I told you this last time we talked, this past school year, we have made some major strides with that through Dr. Evans and Eric Weaver. They have been in communication with several of the plants, and actually, starting in the fall, we have some students that are gonna be doing some, I don't know what you would technically call it.
They're going to be doing, WBL because the state is now paying some of the industries to hire some high school students.
Which I'm not throwing off on the vocational program that we've got now. And the high schools are doing good. I seen the HVAC at Sweetwater, and then the deal you've got with, where the Jane Ingram deal, where you go in there and,
The CNA.
yeah. All that's great, but I just think that it would add something to our industrial part if we had, you know, and you may even do, which we can do this in a workshop, you know, you may even do your first year or two students in the high schools, and then the last 2 years or whatever be the deal that they go to
Right.
Vonore, which I don't know, I don't know anything about it except what I've seen at Athens. And I saw the buildings, 4th of July over there, and I see the industry, the plants and everything, and I see the traffic every day, how many people's working over there.
Well, it needs to be another option for just people in the community. I mean, yes, our students, but, I mean, if community, if you want to go back to school or do anything, you have to drive 30 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour out of your way to do that, unless you do it on. But I do.
If you'll set us a workshop up, and they're all in agreement, they wanna fool with it, and,
Who's gonna get a hold of the senator, representative?
why anybody
You
can
are.
get hold of Lowell. All you got to do is tell Lowell you're gonna have open, ribbon cutting, and he'll be there.
Can you find out a date they're available? Sharon said that she can find out that date they're available.
I let her coordinate it, Sharon can with Janie.
And
I'm not
it's
taking
just a
nothing away
fact,
from your job, you're doing good. But
It's
I
just a
just think
fact.
we need a
Finding
diamond ring sitting
mission.
up there in the industrial park for people to go by and see it shining and everything.
Okay, Shelley, I just want to clarify, because Ruleville School has to have an amendment to the budget. It does not have to be voted on tonight or anything, it'll just be in next month's, and the board will approve it as amended.
The regular amendments that.
Regular amendments, but it won't stop Ruleville or nothing because we didn't do it tonight and add it or anything.
Unless we vote it down, right?
So do we need to add it tonight?
No, I'll have it in next month's.
We got the shaft tonight.
It has to be, the board has to bring in the motion to amend the budget to add rural wells money to this year's budget.
Or it'll be just in that big long list?
It's just an amendment to put it
'Cause it's
back,
done and
just
being
because
approved.
we've done it before with others where if the money's not spent, and we carry it over to the next year, it's just a technicality,
So
put it in the budget.
Just hide it
it'll
in
be
there
on,
like you
it'll
do
be
the
on this
rest of them.
budget
We'll never
amendments
know.
that you put out every month.
Next month,
Okay.
yes, it'll be just like,
Shelley, I'm giving you a bookkeeping tip. Just put it in there like the rest of them, you'll never notice it.
So be it just in reading. Okay. I just want
Squeeze
to make
it.
sure.
You'll be here next month, won't you?
All right, you got anything else to say, Mr. Williams? Anybody down that end?
I just wanna say all the bull I've said tonight, the most important thing I think is the deal about the T-Cat. All this other fall in place.
All right,
I make
seven,
That's what I really want.
a motion, we adjourn.
would you let me say 7-11 too,
I'm getting
please?
ahead of you.
Well, anyway.
Okay, say,
You did that last month,
It's
7-11, 12, but I have a motion to adjourn. I made a
No, wait.
motion,
So moved, so moved.
all day.
adjourn.
well.
Well, it's like you said, telescope. Didn't stick around.